Welcome to day 50 of our GCSE 5 a day. And we start with a fractions question. And hopefully, you've seen me do this enough times now to make sure that if we've got a fraction, we have a nice, clear picture of that fraction. And so the first thing that I've done is that I've cut this into 5 equal parts. And this cutting into equal parts is dividing by 5. So my question here, this whole piece is 35. Now I want 2/5 of this. This is what I'm being asked for, and that's what my 2/5 looks like. So as I say, I'm dividing by 5. So my 35 is divided by 5, which is 7. And what that means is because these are equal parts, each one of these 5 parts is 7. So my 2/5 is 7 times 2, which is 14. Vital that you can execute fractions questions of this type. And the nugget to go and practice there is 4.29. Okay, we have a substitution question here. And our key piece of knowledge has got to be that 2y means 2 times whatever the value for y is. And we're told it's 7. So that's what our expression looks like when I've substituted 7 in for where y is. My BIDMAS rules tell me to do this multiplication first. So this comes to 14 plus 1, which is 15. The nugget to go and practice there is 17.13. Okay, it's quite an interesting question here that we're being asked, what is the number halfway? Now, one way we could do this could be to actually look at and see what's the difference here. What's the distance between these two numbers? Well, that's 18 take away 5, which is 13. And we're after what's halfway. So we could divide 13 by 2, which is 6.5. And so we then see that this number here is 6.5 on from 5. Okay, and that comes to 11.5. Another way that some students know of calculating the midpoint between two numbers is to add them together and divide by 2. 5 and 18 added together is 23. 23 divided by 2 is also, not surprisingly, 11.5. And you may need this skill when calculating the median if you're left with two numbers at the middle point and you need to find what's halfway between them. Another of our key skills here, doing a percentage increase, and our first part of that has got to be to find out what 75% of 300 is, and then we are going to add that to 300. Okay, so how do we calculate 75% of something? Well, some of you may know that 75% is 3/4. So you'd then be left with a 3/4 of 300 calculation. Now we've just done a fractions of an amount calculation in an earlier question. So we would do that by dividing 300 by 4, getting the answer 75, and then multiplying by 3 to get 225. So we might know how to do that. We might not. Now, our key skill here is to be able to calculate 10% of a number. And 10% of a number means dividing by 10. So 300 divided by 10, and this is again one of our key skills. To divide by 10 means that our digits move one place to the right. So 10% of 300 is 30. So 70% is going to be 7 lots of 10%. So that's 7 lots of 30. 7 threes are 21. So that's 210. And 5% we can work out as half of 10%. So that's half of 30, which is 15. So our 75% is 210 plus 15, which is also 225, and we've got that up here as well. Now it's an increase, so we need to take our starting amount, 300, and then we're going to add our 225 to that. So that's 5, 2, so that's 525. Answers in money, so let's remember our pound sign. If we want to practice that skill, nugget to go and look at there on Centuries 10.03. You've seen I've done it two ways. This first way relies on us recognizing that 75% is 3/4 and that 3/4 is 75%. I'd like to think that by the time you get to your exam, you'll be able to recognize 75% as one of our common fractions of 3/4. Okay, well, the first thing I want you to notice here is that when we have our fraction 3/5, that means 3 divided by 5. That's why our fractions look like the way they do, because they're all about division. So I've got to divide by 5, and then I've got to divide by 4. Now, let's have a look at this, because it's quite interesting. So this is not 5 divided by 3. This is 3 divided by 5. Now, a lot of students struggle with this because they're looking at this and they go, well, how many 5s go into 3? None. I don't really know what to do here. And the way we deal with this is that we put in some decimal places. And when we do that, we've got to make sure that our decimal point is replicated above the line as well. And you'll see why this works. So how many 5s go into 3? Well, the answer is none, with a remainder of 3. So we've now got somewhere for our remainder to go. How many 5s go into 30? The answer, 6. So there we have our answer, 0.6. Now that was the first step in our process, wasn't it? Because we were then asked to divide that by 4. And I'm going to do the same thing, remembering to keep my decimal points lined up, and I'm going to pop in a couple of decimal places. How many 4s go into 0? 0. How many 4s go into 6? Well, 1 4 goes into 6 with a remainder of 2. How many 4s go into 20? Answer, 5. So there we have our answer as a decimal, 0.15. Please go away and have a practice of those on Nugget 6.09, because once you've seen this bus stop method for your division, but with decimals, it's something that many students can reproduce. So have a go and practice that, please. That's the end of our notes and solutions for day 50. I hope you're finding these exercises useful. If you still need any help with questions, please ask your maths teacher for help.